Hey everybody, this is DayTraderRockStar, and this is an overnight research watch list session. But I also want to make I wanted to talk about some market observations on the S&P and talk about where I see this market going in short and medium term. Being in the market every single day, when I do take a vacation. And for those out there who know me from Day Trading Radio, when I do take a vacation, it throws my whole trading off for a week at least a week. You have to kind of get into the soul of the market. The market has to become part of you, and you start to get in that rhythm of the market. And a lot of people, they will agree. Hopefully, they agree with that. I don't know if you've experienced it or traded that much that when you do take a break, you kind of get out of whack. So, what does that have to do with this? I don't know. But I've been feeling this market here and very cautious up at these levels. Very, very cautious up at these levels. I want to show you the overall chart. And it was, and knowing and being in the market so much, I know that my personal opinion does not represent what the market will do or anything like that, but I can work with technicals and stuff. And I also knew that we were close to that 50% retracement from the drop back up from the highs and the drop, and we started chopping around that. But it seemed obvious that we were kind of just showing strength here and just pushing. The first move up here, I was like, all right, why don't we just sell off? We got to a 50% retracement, but no, the market tends to make it get everyone hooked, and then you're drinking the Kool-Aid, and then all of a sudden you're switching sides, and then the market tanks on you. I've been trying to nail this for the last couple days into last week. I've been buying, against my longs. I've been buying puts, a couple here and a couple there, going into some overnight trades just to make sure that anything happened, didn't really affect, my overall account size and everything that goes along with it. I just wanted to have something on my side. I always love to be able to, feel comfortable if the market gets a pullback. It's not a straight up one-on-one hedge, but it's just mentally being part of the position because I believe in it, and I would probably kick myself if I didn't. So anyway, the setup finally started selling off today after, just having a hard time selling off. We've been chopping around up here, but all signals pointed to a breakdown. Even this morning pointed to a breakdown. The wedge pattern, the rising wedge pattern was here. It's pretty obvious, and it was a wedge within inside of a wedge. So here's some signals that we started concentrating, even though these signals started to appear. There we go. A couple days ago, today was the day, and this is textbook stuff right here. There's a couple lines here that I'm paying attention to. A breakout support resistance line here. I should make these different color lines. It is confusing after a while, but I'll make this one red, and we'll make it a little thicker here. I'll be like the Bob Ross of stock charting. But these under this wedge pattern here that I want to really point out. And you put this nice little wedge pattern here. We'll keep it nice and blue, and we'll make it more black, like the devil. Oh, sorry. This is a kid's show. We have blue there. And then we're going to expand this here. I apologize for my waste of my time here, but this is how I roll. As I know now at the Traders Expo. All right. The rising wedge here got back up, double topped, and then broke down, and then we retraced into this. And I think at one point yesterday we were noticing there was really no upside here on that consolidation, that yesterday's consolidation. It was really, we kind of just had a hard time rotating up. Trying to get everything here until the end of the day. We were just kind of sideways, and at the end of the day, now you can see what's happening. But that wedge pattern comes a little bit clearer here. Started recognizing this wedge pattern, and feeling a little bit more comfortable for the shorts. So I took those 3 puts into today, and finally we got that breakdown. Now, was this a rug pull here? I believe it was. I don't know, the combination of a couple of things that happened today. Mostly, I think it was the Dr. Fauci was on a Senate hearing, and there was a lot of talk of him being negative on reopening the economy too fast. We're still hearing overhanging news coming out of different areas of the country and different areas of the world that are having spikes in the coronavirus. And there's, Boeing come out talking about airliners will go bankrupt. Certain airliners will go bankrupt this, soon. So you had all this negative news, yet the market's been climbing into this wall of negativity. It was like amazing, more and more. And I was starting to get a little worried up here too. I was like, I just don't feel comfortable. I can't chase anything up here. Seems like we moved up. Anyway, long story short, we capitulated here. And now, was this a trap? Are you trapped in this market here? Tomorrow we have Fed Jerome Powell. No, not Jerome. Whoever this. Who do we have now? No, Powell. It is Powell. I lose track of the Fed guys. I almost went back to Grandma there. The Sniper Sam. Do any of you guys listen? Have you tried, Corey, have you tried TuneIn Radio? TuneIn is a great app. Download the TuneIn app on your smartphone, and then you don't have to pay for it. You could actually download it. On the bottom of when the screen pops up, it'll say, be a premium subscriber, and you can't really see it, but there's a little X down there. You could say no thanks, and then it goes to one where you get an ad before the show starts, which is no big deal. It's not TuneIn. It is. It's TuneIn. What did I call it? It's TuneIn Radio. And do a search for Day Trading Radio, 3 separate words, Day Trading Radio, and this will come up. You can even listen to it on Alexa. Watch this. I always like to do this. Alexa, play Day Trading Radio on TuneIn Radio.
Sorry, I'm not sure about that.
Alexa, play TuneIn Radio, Day Trading Radio.
Day Trading Radio from TuneIn.
And this will come up. You can even listen to it on Alexa. Watch this. I always like to do this. Alexa. She's going to freak out here. Day Trading Radio on TuneIn Radio.
Sorry, I'm not sure about that.
Alexa, stop. Don't freak out here. And you could Bluetooth that to your phone, put it in your car, and rock out with your tunes out, and you hear me perfectly kind of balanced over the music. Sometimes you hear the music and me, and that's kind of an annoying part of it. But if you remind me to turn off the music, I can do that. And then you have just pure, golden, silky voice. But that's that. So we sold off here. Now, what does that give us for tomorrow? Well, we have Jay Powell going to be in front of. I think he's going to be at the Senate, or he's doing a testimony at 9 a.m. and talking about the economy, and that's interesting because the market's going to be looking at this. I don't know if he could rah this market any higher. Everyone's already talking to us. So they're going to have to do something else. And once we start talking about that, that becomes priced into the market. So, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting commentary tomorrow, and let's see how the market reacts. I cannot see the market popping on his comments because we're so far up. I could see that be a sell the news event. So that combined with, boom, what do you see right here? A beautiful divergence. And we started noticing this divergence yesterday. Now, from this high, I mean, it is an official wheelie-dealy divergence here. That high here is 29.5486. We're going to call it 54.86. And the high here is 54. What's the high here? 40, 45, 45, 45. All right, so we didn't take out that high of that high. It looked like it was a double top, more of a double top. It didn't take it out, but I'm definitely seeing it starting to roll over. What I would like to see is this get back above the 80, but it hasn't got back above the 80 on the 9.3 or the 14.3. We kind of failed that before that. And the prices are too close. There's too much, there's too much range in these markets here to not get back up there. So I am starting to read a divergence, a visual divergence, not a mathematical divergence, but that comparison of a price action, and we're seeing the momentum start to shift. All right, so then 60-minute time frame got oversold quickly. That could be seen as a positive. And the daily, we just talked about that big divergence. And you have this space down here. You have a gap back here, 25.17. A pretty decent, well, we could probably raise that up to about 25.28. But there is a definite gap there we want to pay attention to. And, that might be actually an interesting target, that gap. And this is the first time I'll be mentioning that gap back there as a potential target on a pullback. Because I think I am more of a pullback player now, or, thinking that the market has a significant pullback at this point. It doesn't seem like anything's getting better in the economy. There's a lot of warnings of some bad stuff happening. Market's been hanging up here in anticipation. It's like walking the tightrope up here. One piece of bad news. It's like price for perfection at this point. It's price for a recovery and a virus vaccine. Only 15% off the highs. This is a great recovery. And it seems like now we're at a point where any negative news could send this thing right back down. Put's looking great. Well, I ended up was short. If you got the alerts out here, right at the close, right after the close, you could trade options up until 15 minutes after the close, 4:15. The market continued to sell off, and I said, you know what? I'm not going to get caught in any bounce. I want to take this off. I could always reshort in the morning, but we took our profits on our puts. So we did take our. If you look at the trade alert box. All right. So I am looking for some downside. A break above this candlestick. There was volume there. It was a divergence. I think a break above that candlestick would be your stop out on anything. I think there had to be some really good news. I am calling this more of a rug pull right here. Things were acting really good, and then we dropped off pretty hard. Technically, you could see it a mile away, with this wedge pattern, overbought levels. And I also call this a coiled wedge pattern, a coiled stochastic channel breakdown, where you have this underlying series of higher lows with the wedge pattern underneath us. 1, 2, kind of 3. It did break down. It wasn't perfect. It was one back here too. These are what we call these channel moves. And if you have this rising channel, when your channel breaks down out of the stochastics, it usually breaks the channel of the thing. So if you get squeezed up here into an area like this, your timing becomes easier because there's only one way to go. It's down. And again, another high probability setup where I would say 8 or 9 times out of 10, this type of pattern resolves to this breakdown of the breakdown of the trend line brings you the breakdown of the trend line of the stock, which is underlying that. So that's a good timing, because that gives you the time now. It gives you, it's like, well, all right, we don't have much to go. Some people might not realize there's a rise, and they don't believe in the wedge patterns. They're not even looking at anything. If you didn't even look at this, you wouldn't really have a timing. You couldn't time the market as well. You'd just be looking at this going up and going up. But now, seeing that closing and consolidation wedge pattern and some channel lines, it all becomes a little bit cleaner. Right now it's just a straight line up. How do you predict it's this point it's going to break down. If everything was working fine, how is it, this is how you predict that. You start to see that coil set up. Great timing indicator. That's why I have it as one of the high probability playbook trades. So, I just feel like this was kind of a fast little trap. We closed on the lows. We have Powell tomorrow. I don't think there's much he could say, and I just feel there's probably some more bad news rather than good news coming along. It doesn't seem like the market's being affected by anything Gilead's bringing out, so it needs a cure, a vaccine or something. It's not falling for the old Gilead trick again. Apple, Microsoft, Google, those will be the leaders. I mean, a rising tide is going to bring most of the ships up, and the sinking tide is going to bring a lot of ships down too. So I'd be, focused on those, but on the right setup. There's nothing that tells me that Apple's going to buck the trend. We had a lot of these candles, but these are the ones that I think are the best performers. I love Apple. I love Apple here. I mean, I'm not liking the market going into tomorrow. But let's see if Apple could be easy enough to measure against the market, and start to see relative strength. Eventually go higher. But, if you think the market's actually going higher, and you think my observation is going to be off, then I would be in the Apple. Put it that way. If you think the market's going higher, I'd be in Apple. I'd be in Microsoft. Stocks like that. If it was just, you're right on the bit. But these also deserve a pullback. I mean, what's the odds of this area? We've come down so far, but look how far we went up. We went up further. Like the upward trend here seems to be longer. It's not as high. I mean, it's just about as right back up there. But it has more time in this move up. It's slower move, fast move down, slow move up. But it's still, boy, are we going to get that double top pullback? It just feels that way to me. Would I short big tech? I'm sorry, I didn't read that question properly before. I don't, let's take a look at some short divergences, which we haven't done in a while. Now, I should have a scan here. And it probably is going to give me a lot of good setups for short divergences. Let me find that right now. Record this. I'm back here, and what I'm doing right now is I'm actually doing a scan. I'm talking to some people in the chat room. And someone was asking me, would I short big tech? And that's a difficult thing to do. I mean, it's where you really want to be involved, and do you really, the market has been extremely strong up here, and even if we're wrong, I mean, I'm almost like if I'm wrong, I accept defeat. The market has one goal, and that's to move higher because things are going to get better, and I'm a positive person. I actually see both sides of the story. I can see this market grinding right back up and shocking the world like Muhammad Ali, and right back at the highs. And people just in belief, whatever I'm trying to say. In that type of, just slowly dripping higher and squeezing, this is incredible. We're all the way up here. We're only 10% away from. I could just see this. I could daydream and see the talking heads. Can you believe we're just 5% under all-time highs? Doesn't this sound like a script that's already written out? This consolidation, but logically, even Spock would be wrong on this. It's irrational. Elon Musk my stock is priced too high, he would say. But he's not, giving into what's really happening. So I am taking a shot, making that call to the downside. But if we moved higher, sometimes you just have to realize that move higher probably is going to get us very close to all-time highs, and the script will be written once again. That remember the day, and then what happens? Then we have this whole thing. Market makes new highs, not less than a year from Corona. Market at all-time highs, right? I mean, that doesn't sound like crazy at all. Yeah, and that's important. Someone mentioned that in the room. Thinking trading gets much easier when you don't pay attention to the news and what getting influenced by certain things. I try to keep it neutral. Like, all right, I see both sides of it, and I want to just give you a logical, technical point. The momentum to the downside, you probably best to be down to the downside, and you short on the pops. Momentum to the upside is usually really good. You want to buy on the dips. That type of trading is very important, the basic understanding of that. And then our divergences, which are key and stuff. And then patience and discipline. Everything combined is the formula for success. This chop here is what really... I have a feeling a lot of people have been doing good, though. I mean, I hope so. I hope they're doing okay. The market has come back, big time. At one point, when the market dropped here, I was down a lot too. It was like, Jesus. I mean, that's, you try to always prepare yourself and say, when things get bad, we're going to get out or we're going to protect ourselves. But before you know it, you're like down here, and I was holding AUPH. I was down, $10,000, $20,000 in some positions. It was like, wow. And then a lot of those came right back. You made the right trades. You're back. I'm right back to where, I'm no longer. But sometimes you will get those pullbacks. That's scary. So it makes you think going forward. You don't want to run into that again. I think someone mentioned on Fast Money tonight, that 50% retracement. People who have lost money in the market, they got half of it back. And they sometimes you just take it off. Say, you know what? Good enough. I'm out. Thank God. So, we are running into this. But again, those people are probably wrong too. And like I said, I don't care. I'm just looking for a little downside tomorrow. Downside tomorrow, maybe going into the end of the week, maybe going into the next couple of days into the week. But before you know it, I think we are going to start to grind higher. And I can't wait again to hear people start to, like, I don't understand, I don't understand. I mean, they're still saying this is not a V bottom, and everyone's expecting a U bottom. I don't know how they're getting a U out of this. I can see a W. I see a W. I see a big kind of a cup here and a little handle starting to form. But the big divergence here gives me reason to believe that we have downside tomorrow, and J-Powell has... he's got to come out at one point. So here's our short side divergences. I don't want to make this video too long. People have to have time to digest it and stuff. So I did a search here, and let's see what they look like. All right, let's start off with number one. I'm just going random here. All right, and a lot of these, again, are mathematical divergences where that second low is lower than the first high, but the higher high. But I don't have it set for taking into effect of the 80 line, and it's too hard to recode this because I would have to do a lot of things different. But it's giving me every mathematical divergence. And I, personally, it's only 13 stocks. I want to see them. I want to see how low that second lower high is going to be compared to the first. So Lenore, all right, yeah, I see it. EOG, I don't really see it too much. I'm going to pass on it. And these divergences are based off the 9.3, not the 14.3. And even though this one, and I believe the divergence on the buy side divergences are down here. I don't have these markings down here only for buy side divergences. I would have to put 2 more for sell side divergence. It would just be complicated. So we're just going to identify them for you. Like Qualcomm, same thing. Medical instruments and supplies, Olix. That's very strong. Very strong stock. Vertex.
Order submitted. Order submitted. Order submitted.
What the heck happened
Order
here?
submitted.
Oh, market
filled.
just opened.
Order filled. Order
Market
canceled.
just opened.
Order canceled.
I'm like, what the heck?
Order submitted. Order submitted. Order submitted. Order submitted.
All right.
Order filled. Order filled.
All right, sorry about that. I want to move that stop down so it doesn't trigger. It might trigger too fast, actually. Hold on. Never, again, don't let this thing run during market open volatile areas when the market reopens, and unless you have your parameters set at a wide margin that you don't get chopped up. Doesn't mean the divergence is not there. It just means that the setups. So the market opened and I don't barely see any action on it. All right, so let's not get distracted, John. Again, I have a lot of work to do here. VRTX, diversified industrials, Citrix systems. Some of these are really nice, but yeah, they would have to be nice to give me a nice divergence to the downside. They have to be up. Activision Blizzard, interesting. Big candle to the downside. Ulta Salon, beauty salons.
Order filled. Order submitted.
All right.
Order canceled.
Well, if you can see, it has a trailing stop now. Let's follow that up. That's what we might hear another alert. UG, which is interesting. All right. Well, nothing really exciting there on the divergence
Order
side.
filled.
And that's their profit taken. Let's go over our new stocks for today and going into tomorrow. It was a crazy day today. Crazy. Hold on just 1 second here. We're looking at IAC here. One of the members sent in a chart here, so I wanted to look at it. It is a definite divergence, a 9-3 divergence. Good reversal piercing pattern, or what's the reversal of a piercing pattern? Maybe a shooting star, maybe? Or no, that's a reversal of a hammer. Piercing, whatever. It's a piercing pattern pushing back into. It's a good reversal candle. We start to turn over early. Rising trend line. If we're looking at this market going down, yeah, I agree. IAC does take the lead on my divergence short list. It does look great. See what else you have for me. Tech D, TECD here. Very weird trading on this. What the heck is this thing? I don't know what this is. Very weird trading. I mean, it looks like it was bought out, and then during the buyout, it had it just pulled back because some of the deals might fall through, but this deal apparently is going to go on. But there is there is always a little risk of it not. So it's trading off the high. So there's nothing here.
Order submitted. Order submitted.
I don't think there's much here. I think they're
order filled.
It looks like they were acquired. Some kind of bidding war or something happened here, and then sold off and came back. That's my guess. We have a 5-minute setup here. Wow, look at that. Go get them 5-minute. Go get them divergences. We're going to have some fun tonight because everyone's going to be trading tonight. I got to wait for a better pattern to set up here because this was a really tight move down. And then we opened up and we just popped up to the 50-period moving average. And look at the markets. We're at the highs. Down 5 points. Pre-market was pretty devastating here. You know, it dropped another 10 points, I think. So let's markets just opened back up. And I want to welcome everyone out there if you just tuned in here. I'm doing a live research session with you. We've already discussed many stocks and my my outlook for tomorrow, and I'm looking for some downside. And maybe even a gap fill down the road. We'll look at that gap one more time. We'll go back to the other. Let me just double check. So he's also looking at Newmont Mining, which is now owner of Gold Corp, right? Or they merged or whatever. Let's take Newmont. N-E-M. No, that wasn't. Well, who did the Gold Corp team up with? All right, NEM. Yeah. I like that too. I mean, I like it. My good friend George, he's a gold bug. He's into precious metals a lot. He's banging the table on silver for me. And I told him I'm going to get you on here and we're going to talk silver. Maybe I'll call him later. I told him I'm just going to call you up out of nowhere. I hope you don't mind. I mean, we're friends like that. He's really smart.
Order filled. Order canceled. Order canceled.
He's a motion lab engineer. He works on computers to make body parts move, you know, for rehabilitation and stuff. He's a coder. Stuff like, all right, so SLV, I'm looking at it. It's actually popped a little and consolidated. Yeah. All right, let's continue on. I want to continue on some of our stocks that we got into today. Some other ones that we're looking at. I have a big list here. So I want to run through this real fast. Just an update on things. That NET's looking excellent. And if I type it out right, it'll come up. Today it bounced back up. If it wasn't for the market pulling back, we would have been actually closing at the highs, and this probably would continue to break out. I think if we have a bounce tomorrow, I mean, this is looking great. Throw this in the category of the software application stocks, and some of our other ones that we've always been fans of is the Coop, which we've been in here since back here, and these all start down at this level, $30, $40. So we look at that and we say, all right, and that's only at $30 here. You know, down the road, are we going to see this one up 300% this year? I think there's probably a good chance. They do internet protocol securities and stuff like that. I mean, it's supposed to be that everyone uses this, but it's never been so I think it's a sleeper. You know, I think it's still cheap here. So liking this a lot, liking that, and then the only reason I'm showing the DKNG, the DraftKings, it does look good. It still looks really strong, and this was one of those SPAC companies. Start off at $10, and once they acquire and talk about the acquisition of a company, it starts to run. So we'll use this as research for our SCVX, which is another SPAC, but it hasn't done anything with the money yet. It's gonna eventually buy something, you know. But they said they have the money in a trust, current interest, and when they find that, you know, and this might be a little delayed. It might be a little delayed, but my guess is that it starts to run before the announcement. Something will be leaked out. These things are starting to. There's no volume yet, but I think we're in early, or really early. This is kind of a deep throat type of pick. And as he likes, the guy who works here also brought the space SPCE, Virgin Atlantic, to, that was also a SPAC company. I did go over these today. We were long these recently. We took profits in them, and now they're coming back down. I'm watching them. This one's very slowly turning over, but we're almost down to the bottom. I'd watch this for a divergence. If we have a divergence on this sector, the storage sector, I will be all over this, and that's the only reason. It looks like there is the possibility. So, I would suggest everyone kind of keep an eye on these two, even if I forget to, which I'm not going to because I have it written down. But you can see where I'm getting. If we had a little flush here, got down, it's almost a double bottom. I mean, it's almost a double bottom divergence. It's just if we get a turn back up like that, that will be my trigger to get in. So PSA public storage, and then the EXR. Same thing. I mean, same exact thing. ITRM, I wrote it down. It started showing some interest, kind of a big base. One of our drug spec stocks, biotech stocks that are a speculative stock for us, for me. I'm long. I'm just showing to you. I had it written down on my list. I did not pay attention to CMG today, and I kind of missed out here. Wingnut told me that it was breaking out, but it did come back here. So, you know what? Kind of a reverse Nike check mark and a shooting star pattern. I like the CMG, so let's see if we can recover from this. I would almost say this is a buy on a break out of that reversal candle. If this is such an interesting candle, if we break above that, that would be an extremely bullish move. So there's a lot of options out here. I want to keep that one. Let me get a new piece of paper and make a new list for tomorrow. All right, so that one. I'm going to put the IAC down on that one too. IAC, and that's hard because that's an internet company. APLS. I like the pullback. It was moving higher today. It got sucked down with the market, but I still like this pullback. Yeah, I like this one a lot. I'm going to I have this one on my list to do some research tonight to see exactly what month we could lock down the results and when we're expecting results on their trials. If you guys want to do that with me, we'll do that next after I get this video out. I put that one down. We're going to find out when these trials are. I'm going to go over some other ones. We're going to do as much as I can before Charlie gets on here and takes over. I have Corning on my list going forward. Not yet, but going forward. Again, HBS, recognizable channel, capitulation through the channel due to newsworthy event, push back up to the channel first short. But once we get through that, however or whenever we get through that, which I think we will, so there's actually a trade to be had before that, but I honestly think we could get through this. Once it gets through it and we hold it by just a pullback and then start moving back up off of it, typical of this move, that's that pullback. I love to buy that pullback. This one, again, sold off at the end of the day. If this comes back down, I mean, I got to get into this at a right place, the right time. So it'll be a triple bottom. It has to show strength. It has to break out, or it has to give me something a little better price. And it might get back down here. $18. It might get down there. I mean, that would be... and also, I've also watched for divergences here. We need this pullback to kind of, give us some better setups. I know I was scribbling a lot of stuff on here. Yeah, DraftKings. Oh, you know what was another spec company we discussed the other day? SWNK. Twinkies was a spec company. Now, if you go back here, again, same thing. This flat line trade right here, $10, until they acquire something. And then, man, look at that thing move. Look at that move. What's the stock today guys that we're in? The electric truck one, VTIQ, was it? I'm going to guess. Something like that. Look at that. That held on to most of the gains, too. That's a SPAC company that popped and then drifted and then eventually got some consolidation. So, these are becoming in focus. So what's going to happen is they're going to start to focus on our SCVX. People are going to realize there is money to be made in these SPAC companies, and they're going to be jumping the gun on this next one. Good pedigree in the stock coming from Virgin Atlantic, and they know how to do this. So it's just a matter of, you almost want people to realize it. I want to promote it and say, hey, this is going to be the next big thing. You want people to get in, get volume, and people get, all of a sudden the hype comes in even before they announce anything. This has a potential, the SCVX actually has a potential to run probably to $13, $14 without even any rumor of a news, just because people are freaking out. So I really think that is a good, what we're talking about, the SCVX one. But that's one. These are all the spec companies. Is PAC B one? Pacific Biocenter? I have this written down. I don't know who gave me this. I have it written down. I want to pass on that one. I think I have to get into more SCVX here. I just think this could be a hidden gem. I want to write that one down too. I want to add to it again. I've been adding to it. CVX. This is one where you want to follow the guys around, Find out who these two guys who own the company they're going to acquire. I wonder if they have follow them around. Like, oh man, they're going into this company. They're gonna strike. All right. I bought Chewy today. Just off the pullback, a nice rotation. This stock actually acts normal. It's a specialty retail, recent IPO, broke through it, coming back to that IPO kind of levels and that breakout level. They deliver and provide dog food, pet food, I should say. So in these times, it's good delivery. And also people use this, and it's a nice pullback. It makes sense here. It does make sense. Earnings are behind it, and it's pulled back. So that's that. Next page here. Let's see here. APLS. I'm liking that APLS. I got to do that research on that. Hey, Fro. A couple from tight stops today. AVNS, right? Is that NS? This is when my pen was dying here. I wanted to mark that at level off because I do like this downward trend line. Pull back. It's holding. It's kind of pulling back. I'm watching it at this level. We just got oversold on stochastics. So, it's just something that's interesting for me. If we even get a further pullback. Should be down a little bit further. Who knows where, but, you know, watching that one. AVNS. I have it on my screen now. And then AVNS, Corning went on for Corning. Xers, Xers. So it's running for some reason. Again, look at this. It IPO'd up here. It took off and then came all the way back down. And now starting to move up a little. I'll write this one down too. And look up what's going on with this one. All these things require some extra digging. SCVX, we know what we're doing with that. The APLS, we're going to research that. We're going to research that. And WRK, let's see what that one is. Oh, West Rock. All right, packaging. Someone might have mentioned it. I wrote it down. I want to research that Xers next. And the other one. Ninja, Starbucks, ARTL. All right. Let me check this one last piece of paper over here. For those out there you might get this and you're not part of Day Trading Radio, make your way over to Day Trading Radio. Try out the 10-day free trial. Get all the research, get all the trading rooms, chat rooms. Always give you you just go to daytradingradio.com and you'll see a free trial link there. It's very simple. You don't have to put anything in, credit card or anything. We talked about ADMA. All right, I'm still holding this ADMA. Took a little off on the bounce, but you know, a higher high on this would be golden on this. That would almost give us a reason to get back in the continuation pattern. It's the volume here. So we had to watch the higher high on that, which would bring us to 283. ADMA 283 would give us that higher high, and that would be pretty bullish for a cheap stock because the earnings are behind it and everything else is in front of it. The channel's nice, but I mean, that's here and there. I want to just get going here. What else am I on here? So that JP Morgan. Let's take a look at JPM. JP Morgan breaking down here a bit. It was good off the lower trend line, but now we've gotten oversold again. See if we could build a new channel out on this. This is interesting. Some gaps above us. I'm just going to use these two lines here. I don't know. I'm not interested. I'm just not seeing anything here. Needs another couple days to work its way out here. Ralph Lauren, our short, RL, is working out great. Starting to break through that bearish flag. Or you could call this almost a rising wedge pattern. If I close that in a little, put the low from here to here, it's almost like a little rising wedge, and we're breaking down. Like I said, if we get a gap down tomorrow, I'd like to get 62 for it and take it off. Take the short off. That's the only short I'm holding here, other than when I take the puts. PSA, MOS. Remember MOS? It's a boring stock. And that's it. ITRM. I have other stocks here. I want to do some other research though, but I want to get this out with the call that I think tomorrow we're going down, and I think overnight we could actually gap down. We'll see what happens. I would take my short out Ralph Lauren RL tomorrow if we gap down a significant amount, and then we'll work from there. We're going to be here with you. And also, if you got through this whole video and it was time for Charlie's going to be on at 9 o'clock trading the MES live here. He does that every Tuesday. The show is called Sink or Swim. Sink or Swim. So that's going to be coming up here at 9 o'clock tonight. And once I send this video out, I will get back on here. And let's see here. I think that's about it. All right. So I want to get this little research bit out here. I want to stop it right now.